create a new project here. New project from template. So any questions you have, Pawan?
No, no, Avik.
Okay, fine. So I'm just going to create a new Fiori application. Let me click on start. So these smart controls are taken from these Fiori elements. Okay. So smart control, these are part of Fiori elements only. Because Fiori, when we talk about the Fiori elements always needs CDS service. See a service which has the annotation information. That service only you can use for Fiori elements, because let's say you're going with the Fiori elements template and you have created a basic OData service. So do you think that your Fiori elements will work or your controls will work? No, it will not work. Okay, that's a POM.
Hmm.
1 second, huh? Second. Yeah. So what I will do now, so I'll just select this UI5 freestyle template, and from here I'll just go with a blank UI5 application template. Okay, so we'll create a UI now. Okay, so now what we can do, as we know, so we don't have any OData service which supports annotation. So already I have integrated Northwind. Okay, so basically in Northwind, we have a couple of services. By default, it supports annotations and all. You can use that service for smart controls. Okay, just for practice purpose, you can just create a destination. You can configure that destination, and based on that, you can practice the smart controls on that Northwind service. So which Northwind service we will use? You can just go with odata.org, and you can just go with developer, and there is a reference services. Okay, and here you can go with OData v2, and you can go with the last option, Northwind read only. Okay, so this is the service which already supports the annotations. Okay, and means you can also use you can also use smart controls on this service without any problem. Okay, so this is the metadata of that service. And now what we will do now, so we will integrate this service. I think as this destination is already created. So let me open SAP BTP login or cockpit. Okay, so now here, let me go to connectivity, and under that there is a destination tab. So when we choose that option destination, you can see we have created one Northwind destination. Can you see here? So we just provided the URL of that destination. You can see, and from this URL only, we will access this Northwind service. Okay. So this service, you can see proxy type is internet and authentication is no authentication because it is open source. And most importantly, you can add these additional parameters as HTML5 dynamic destination with true, web ID enabled as a true, and web ID system as Northwind. And then you can add web ID usage as OData_gem because that is an OData service. Okay, so once you have all these
Avik,
properties, yes.
these things we can add directly in manifest JSON and we can access that Northwind, right?
You can access, but best
Direct.
practice is that we should always create a destination. Whenever you're integrating any OData service, first of all, that destination should be configured properly on the cloud so that you will not face any chorus error and all. So cross origin policy, so many issues. See, if you're not going to configure a destination, you will face some security issues or some cross origin policies issues. So the best thing is that you can directly configure this destination. And as this destination
Okay.
or this wherever the place that you're configuring the destination, it's already connected to your BS. So whatever you do, the changes automatically that will be reflected in your application as well. Okay. So just make sure and just keep a note of this. Always, if you're going to integrate any service or any data source, make sure that you create a destination for that on cloud or in cockpit. So now after once you create the destination, you just need to check the connection, whether it is reachable or not. If you are getting the response as 200, okay, it means a connection is successfully established. Okay, and you can access this data source within your BS tool. Okay, so now let's go back to BS. And now what we will do, we will choose the option connect to system under the data source. And you can choose an option under the system, the which destination you want to choose, Northwind. And now I think we have opened this service, right? So after org, whatever the path is there, you can directly copy. Don't copy dollar $metadata, that is not required. Okay, that's it. It will consider, it will check whether that is valid or not. Okay, so it valid, that's why the next button is enabled. So just click on next. Now I'm just going to keep a view name as app and let me click on next. Okay, that's it. So now here we can just provide a name to our project. Okay, so we can provide an app name as smart. You can give namespace as com.demo. You can give any namespace, that's not a problem. And just directly click on finish now. Okay, so this project is created now. So let's hold on for a couple of seconds here. I think it will install some uh, dependencies. Let's hold on. Let's hold. Okay, so once your project is created, so let me expand. Let me see the app folder first of all. Okay, so there is no app control here because we created this as a default view. Okay, app is there. So let me add a app tag here. Provide a ID as equal to app. And here you can directly add this page. Okay, so within this page, I'm just going to test whether the page is visible or not. Now, how to run this project? Right click on the Smart Controls app, click on Preview Application. Choose any option you can choose, that's not a problem. Okay, so once our project is running, now we can add a code for Smart Controls. So let's see whether it is running or not here. Okay, so it's running. And let's see whether the metadata is loading or not for this app. Because we have integrated one data source from Northwind. It should be accessible here. If metadata is loading for that app, it means it's working. Whatever the OData service you have integrated, that is working. Okay, so this is the metadata of Northwind service, and you can see we are getting the response as 200, which means you can use this OData service in your application. Okay, so all the best practice is always if you're integrating any OData service, so make sure that you check the metadata in network tab. Okay, if you're loading that app, so always make sure to check the metadata. First of all, check the metadata if it is loading or not. If metadata itself is failing, check whether you have configured the destination or whether that OData service is configured properly or not in your application. You have to check that. And also you have to check whether the authorization is there or not for that OData service. If roles and authorizations are missing, so for sure that metadata will not be loaded properly. You will get 400, 404, and sometimes if server is not active, so sometimes you will also get 500 or 502, something error. Okay, so now in this case, our service is reachable. So now let's add a code for smart controls. So we'll start with a smart filter bar. Okay. So smart filter bar, what is a smart filter bar? Smart filter bar, it is like a control which you can easily use for creating a different filters. Let's say below you have a table and you want the table to be filtered out based on the filters. So based on smart filter bar, what you can do, you can create a filters. You can create a various filters for that respective service. Let's say you want to create a 3 filters, so you can easily create that 3 filters within that smart filter bar. And what that functionality of smart filter bar will do, this smart filter bar is connected with the smart table automatically. So based on ID, the smart filter bar is connected, and whatever you do a search on the top, automatically all that changes will be applied within your table. So that data will be filtered out within your table. And then to do that, you don't have to write any CSS or sorry, any JavaScript code for that. You don't have to write. When you go with the traditional controls, let's say you want to filter out the data based on search field. So if you want to do that, if you want to search that data based on the search field, so what we have to write? We have to declare one function in controller and we have to write a logic and we have to create a filter, and that filter can be assigned to the table at the time of light change or whatever. Like if you're going to click on enter or search, so at that time, whatever the code you have written, that will be executed, right? So that's what means that is the process to filter out the data in table. But when it comes to the smart controls, you don't have to write that JavaScript code or that logic. Okay, that is not required. Automatically, the smart filter bar, it will filter out the data within that table based on the filter or whatever the value you are going to enter in that filter bar. Okay, so let's see that. So what we will do now, we'll just create one smart filter bar. So if you want to see, you can go to this API reference and you can search for smart filter bar. Okay, so this is your control. So from which library this control is coming? So this control is coming from the library sap.ui.com.smartFilterBar. So this is the library in which the smart filter bar is located. So just copy that. And first of all, let's declare that on the top. Okay, so I'm just going to provide this name afterwards. So let me paste this and we'll use this as it is. Okay, so this is the first thing I've added. So let's declare our smart filter bar here. So you can write smart filter bar colon. You can copy all this. Now within the smart filter bar, what we need to add? So first of all, we will provide an ID to this smart filter bar. And after that, we have to provide information of entity set. Okay, so this smart filter bar, it is going to work on entity set. So we have to provide means from which entity set the smart filter bar should be created. So that entity set name we have to provide. So if we go back to the service, so you can see there are various entity or entity type like category, the customer demographic and all. So we will we will go with the customer entity set. So this is the entity type. Just check what is the entity set for this customer. We can just scroll down here And hopefully we should see entity set below. Okay, so this is the entity set name. So entity set for customer is customers. So we will just copy these customers, go back and just provide that information here. That's it. Now inside the smart filter bar, now we want to create a smart filters, right? So let's say we need a smart filters for two fields. So let's go back to metadata for for customer and let's see what we have here for customer. So for customer, the the primary key is customer ID. So what we will do, we'll create a filter bar for customer ID because user want to filter out the data based on customer ID. So we'll keep this customer ID as a filter bar. So we'll create that as a filter bar. So now whenever you want to configure this filter bars, so we
Hello.
need to add a yes.
Hello.
Yes, Pawan. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me, Pawan? Am I audible to you? Hello? Okay, I think 1 second, guys. Let me check. Yeah, Pawan, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so now what we did now for the smart filter bar, we have just provided two properties here. Like one is the ID and second one is the entity set. So why we provided entity set? Because we are going to use this customer entity set and same entity, we will bind that entity set to the smart table. Okay, so within that entity set, whatever the filters you will create, or so that for sure that filters will be belonging to the customer table. Okay, because customer, it is like an entity type which has some structure, which has a couple of properties there. So based on those properties, we will filter out the data. So now whenever you want to create a filter bar, so we have to add an aggregation of control configuration. So let's go back and you can go to the control configuration. So we need this control configuration for configuring the filter bar. Okay. And within this control configuration, you can mention the labels and the keys. Okay. So once you add a control configuration, so automatically a filter bar will be created within that. See, we have just declared the smart filter bar, and can you see what all things are happened here? Can you see here? So we can see one smart filter bar in which you can see three options here: go, show filter bar, and filters. So let's say if I'm clicking on show filter bar, nothing will happen because so far we didn't add anything. And if you click on the filters, it will bring all the property information. See, can you see now? It's bringing all the properties from that metadata. So how many properties are there within that customer? Customer ID, company name, contact title. So all these properties it is bringing from that metadata. See? So now
Hmm.
you just tell me now. Now same thing if you want to develop. Okay, same thing if you want to develop from UI5 from normal controls. So will that take more time or it can be done within a fraction of seconds? Because for declaring smart control, I don't think that it will take more than 1 minute. So within 1 minute, can we design this entire pop-up with all the filters and all
Yes.
everything? Using normal controls, not about, I'm not talking about smart controls. So how much code you need to write? Let's say you want to design this pop-up. Again, this table which has some filters. Again, this OK, cancel. Again, if you see there are various options as well here on right hand side. How much time it will take?
Yeah,
For
it
sure,
will
it
take
will
long
take
time.
more time. It will take
Hmm.
1 day as well. Let's say you want to design only this pop-up. Okay, so that's kind of thing that you this is like an advantage for smart controls. Whenever you are going with the smart controls, the code that we have to write is very less as compared to the normal controls. Okay, and the complexity is also more if you go with the normal controls. But only the drawback for the smart controls is that you need a service in such a way that is supported. Okay, you cannot create this smart controls on normal service. That won't be possible. So now just now we have just declared a smart filter bar. Now we just need to create a filters here. So if you go to the filters, if you go to the second option, group view, you can see your filters, right? So for customer, you can see a various filters. So this same filter we will create and that should be declared here for that smart filter bar. So for that, we need a control configuration. So we will add a control configuration now. So where that control configuration is located, it is located within a smart filter bar. So this library we have already loaded. So we don't need that library. So we only need this control. So we'll add smart filter bar colon the control configuration. Sorry, first of all, we need to add aggregation of control configuration. Okay, and within this aggregation, we will declare that. Okay, we will declare that. So we'll declare that control configuration. So now here we will write. Okay, so we'll write. We'll provide an ID. Like let's say you want to provide an ID of. Okay. So now we'll add one more property like visible in advanced area. So what this property will do, you can go to control configuration and you can go to the properties. So there are various properties you can add like control type, disable new date range control, display behavior, filter type, group ID, and has value help dialog. So whatever the options or the properties you will add based on that, your filter will work. OK, and history enable means let's say the past history is there. So that will come. Again, you can assign an index key. So key is very important, key and label. OK, and apart from that, this visible in advanced area. What this will do, if set to true, this field will be added to the advanced area. Means whatever the area you can see here. So in that area that will be enabled. OK, so let's add that. OK, now here key you can add, label you can add it as key you can specify as. So key you can copy from that property because that is a case sensitive. So you can copy this property name and you can paste that here. That's it. OK, so now just now we have configured a single control configuration or sorry, single label. 1 second. Let me see whether it's OK. It's not closed. OK, now let's see the output. OK, can we see now? Sorry, can you see now? So we have just created a single filter for the customer ID, right? So if you click on that F4, you will get a pop-up where you can just filter out the data. So same like that, we will just design two more filters here. So you can just copy this same line. and paste here. So instead of customer ID, you can add for company name. You can just change a key and you can change the label. Okay, so I'm going to add one more filter. This time I will add it for city. I'll add it for city. Okay, that's it. Now, hopefully, now what we should see now? We should see three filters. One is for customer ID, company name, and city. Is there any error? Yeah, I think ID is same. Second. So ID, company, ID, city. Okay, now let's see the output. Okay, can you see now? So we just added three filter bar here. Sorry, three controls we have added for the filter purpose. One is the customer ID, company name, and city. Okay. So if you click on go, now nothing will work because after all, whatever value you want to provide, it should be filtered out within this table, right? So first of all, we have to design a smart table now. So now same.